A special edition of the Billy Slater Podcast this week. We're on location at Suncorp Stadium, the venue for State of Origin 1. Of course, Billy Slater, the coach of the Maroons. We're here thanks to Tab. How are you, Billy? It's a big week.
It's good to have the podcast in Origin camp, Salty. So get a bit of an insight into what we're about and a bit of the selection. So yeah, looking forward to the chat.
Mate, let's get straight into three phone calls in particular you would have had to make last night. First up, Robert Toyer. Well, he's just taken the NRL by storm this year. He's been terrific for the Roosters. What was that phone call like? Yeah,
the phone call itself, it was... the first thing I said to him was, I think I'm just as nervous as you. And I was. Because I know how special it is. I know, as a 20-year-old young lad starting out your journey in the NRL and you receive a phone call that you've always dreamt of. And it was a real uplifting moment and one that I could feel gratitude through the phone. And I'm really looking forward to getting to know him as a person because he seems like a great young lad. He seems really humble, and watching him play footy, which is the reason he's here, is he works really hard. I know his club coach has got a really high opinion of the work ethic side of his game, and looking forward to bringing him a part of this Queensland Origin team and helping him play his best footy.
Everyone's path to this level or to any level that they reach in the game is different. He's seen a lot of adversity, as has Beau Fermor, and we'll get to him in just a moment. Is it, I know, character building, you don't want to have to go through it and the like, but just seeing the way that these guys have been able to get past those roadblocks in their career, is that lay foundations for when they do reach this level to take that next step?
Yeah, well, it's a part of their journey, and although you don't want to go through it, you can't buy that. You can't buy that resilience. You can't buy that that pain and the determination to push through that. Being a player that's had long-term injuries and fighting through it and not knowing whether it's worth it or not, you come through that, and like I said, you can't buy that experience. And although Robert Toyer is only 10 games into his NRL career, he's been through a couple of years of building character, and you can certainly see that in his games at times too. So the reward for getting through those moments it just makes it so much sweeter when you get there.
The other one, Beau, mentioning him and the adversity he's gone through as well. He's been in camp previously, so I guess he would have thought that he was on the radar, but it's a big moment for him, isn't it?
Yeah, right on the cusp a couple of years ago, Beau Fermor, and knee injury that ruled him out for 12 months as well. And you've got to work pretty hard to get back to that point in your career where you are considered as an Origin prospect. And he's done well to get himself back there. He's got great habits in his game, and he's a real team first player. So I'm looking forward to seeing him play in the Maroon.
But the other debutant from the Melbourne Storm, Trent Liero, I think we've spoken a fair bit about Trent on the podcast recently, about he's been one of those unsung heroes, if you like, at the Storm, a player that doesn't get the accolades like a Pappy or a Munster or a Jerome does, but no, he's very well valued very highly, isn't he, at Melbourne? Yeah,
and I've got the luxury of being involved in the Melbourne Storm, and I see firsthand the value that he does give to the footy team every week. He's worked really hard on his game, the last 2 years. He was a part of our build up to Game 3 last year as 18th man, and that was a reward to where he got his footy to. You don't just get given those positions. You get offered those positions through the work and the standard of footy that you play. And now the opportunity has been presented to him. So, you need those two things to go your way. You need to be playing to the standard of State of Origin and this Queensland team, and you also need the opportunity to be there. And he's had to wait for that opportunity, and now it's there. I feel he's a better player, for what he's gone through the last 2 years.
When you come into the side as a debutant, would it be easier for him now that he sees the likes of Harry Grant and Cameron Munster and Xavier Coates here in camp, so a few familiar faces? Does that help when you're coming into this environment for the first time?
Yeah, I think so. I think knowing people, and not just on the field but personalities off the field as well. You build that connection and you build that bond, and having a couple of teammates in the team, and not just teammates, close mates. He's I can say the brother-in-law to Harry Grant. Harry goes out with Trent's sister, so there's a connection there. And but he's here on his own merits, and that's first and foremost. The Queensland team's made up of so many players from all different clubs. But the one thing that ties them together is they're all Queenslanders, and they all drew inspiration and idolised this footy team when they were growing up, and they get the opportunity to go out and pass that inspiration on to future generations.
Mate, we've said plenty of times that when Origin has come up, especially in the last couple of weeks, that you don't put a team down in pen until right at the very end. It was a bit hairy the last couple of days with so many games coming thick and fast. Your team's written out in pencil right to the end, isn't it?
I'm not great at handwriting anyway, so just on the phone, so I can delete pretty quick. But look, it's not even about that, to be honest, and it's the old cliche, you've got to wait until you get all the health checks and then you build the best possible team. And the time-consuming part is watching more than 17 players, watching 35, 40 Queenslanders. Every time a Queenslander takes the field, I'm aware that they're a Queenslander, and I'll make sure I take note of the habits that they're outlaying, because at the end of the day, when you get tired in a footy game, and you're going to get tired in an Origin, it's your habits that you fall back on. So the character of the player is really important, and spending that time to make sure I give my job the respect it deserves, to understand everyone's habits, is really important leading into selection.
Mate, you talk about character. Your number 14 and Tom Dearden, he oozes character. I know that if you were to, he'd come up to you and say, mate, I'll do whatever you want for the team. What about from your point of view? You formulate a plan and how to use Tommy next week, because he'll do whatever it takes for Queensland. We know that. Yeah,
I think that's what gives you confidence is, a player like Tom will do whatever it takes and play in any position and do a really good job. He's a real competitor. He's a tough player, and one that you love to have in your footy team no matter where it is. So we'll build a plan around how we think we can outlay Tommy's strengths into our footy team. But at the same time, we're going to have to be agile and move on the run as well, because we know what sort of game the Origin arena is, and things are going to change and plans are going to change. So he adds that versatility for us as well.
The HIA aspect has really changed, hasn't it? Not only the game, but obviously Origin footy as well, where the collisions are that much stronger and the game's that much more intense than what we see through the week-to-week level. I'm not talking about illegalities there or anything like that. I'm just talking about just the way the game goes. You've got to have pretty much all bases covered, don't you?
Yeah, and I think for the best. Like, I've played this game for a long time. I played 31 Origins, so the health of the players is really important, and we don't take that lightly. So I think the game is moving in the right direction in that aspect, and it's something that you need to consider. It's something you need to consider on your bench as well. And if a player goes down and you need to put a player on, can he play long minutes? So, thinking about all those sort of things in the lead up to selection is really important. You've got to have contingency plans, and you've got to have contingencies on contingencies, because things can happen that you haven't even thought of. And if you're prepared, well, you give yourself the best chance to perform. And hopefully we're prepared up to this point. And now we need to get our preparation on for the next 9 days. Looking forward to having Tino back in the Origin arena. He's a warrior, isn't he? To be fair, I'm just happy that Tino's back playing footy. Yeah. He puts so much into his game, and he loves the game. And to see him back playing is great. And to be honest, he hasn't skipped a beat. Sometimes players come back from long-term injuries and take a bit of time to find their feet, but watching Tino's first 40 minutes in a trial was like, wow, he's so professional, and he's a real leader of this footy team. He's a real warrior, and looking forward to seeing him wear maroon again. Mate, I know you focus on the 17 players and 18 plus the other squad members that you've got here, but Tom Gilbert would have been so close to playing. Unfortunate injury for him over the weekend. It's horrible luck, isn't it? Yeah, terrible luck over the last couple of years. He's he did his shoulder in Adelaide playing for this footy team, and he wanted to keep playing out there with a busted shoulder. That ended his season a couple of years ago, and then last year he didn't even play a game, due to a knee reconstruction. Real unfortunate on the eve of the State of Origin series that he's got a real lengthy layoff, and I feel for Tom Gilbert. I just spoke about how much Tino puts into his game. Well, no one puts more into their footy than Tom Gilbert, and I know how much he'll be hurting, so that'll be a phone call that I'll be making throughout the week.
And once again, I'll preface this question by saying I know your focus is on Queensland. Any surprises from what Laurie has done down south?
Yeah, no, not at all. Look, the one thing, at this level, you can go a number of ways, but still be equally as dangerous. And it's just about, now we know what New South Wales team is giving it the respect it deserves throughout our preparation, and that's something that we certainly will be doing. We won't be ignoring our strengths, and we'll be going after our game, but understanding what they're about and the individuals and what they bring to their footy team is be ignorant if we don't dive into that a little bit. They're a great side. They were the best side last year, and it's up to us to rise to the standard.
The Maroons spine, Kalen at fullback with Cam and Daly and Harry, of course. It was great to see him play well on the weekend at Shark Park and make his comeback as well. It must be I don't know if fun's the right word, but you enjoy getting in and working with the four of them and helping formulate your game plans for Wednesday? Yeah,
absolutely. And those four guys have got a huge responsibility of bringing everyone else's strengths into the game, bringing Robert Toyer into the game, bringing Hamiso into the game, building a game that everyone gets to express themselves. And there's a lot of quality in our footy team, but at the same time, we all need to be resonating, the traits of a Queenslander, that work ethic, never giving up, hanging in there for your mate, because things are not always going to go our way, and we need to be sticking together and fighting pretty hard at the foundation of the game. There's a lot of talent in this footy team, but we want to be focusing on the things that don't require a whole heap of talent as well.
Mate, not related to the team, what does this place mean to you?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a little bit of a Coliseum feel here. You've got the crows, crowing in the background, and the empty stands, and we just know the atmosphere that this place creates. This is our home. We all know what happened here 45 years ago when Arthur Beetson ran out and established the game. Looking forward to playing here, but at the same time, we need to create the atmosphere out on the pitch. That's the real focus for us is creating an atmosphere on the pitch that we can actually enhance this atmosphere, because this won't be what it can be if we don't get it right out there.
When you take first turn's a right-hand turn out the dressing room, then the left, and then you start to walk out that tunnel. It's not long, but when you come out from all that concrete above you and you hear that noise, what's that like?
It's really strange because you can't hear anything under the stadium. You hear very little crowd noise while you're under the stadium, but once the doors open, and it is only relatively short, that walk from when you turn left to actually, smacking you in your face. So, it's something that you've got to earn. All right, you don't get the luxury of buying that ticket. And the 17 players that earn that opportunity to run out and feel that, it's pretty special. The Queensland people, they love this footy team. It's their footy team, and that's not lost on the players.
Fans always ask, Loza, what was the best era of league? And I tell them, nothing beats the line-breaking, flick-passing, goose-stepping, Vegas flying, turbo try-scoring, origin drought-breaking, simply the best era of footy we're in right now. And with more market stats and insights, it's easy to enjoy the best era in footy with the best app in footy.
Tab. We're on.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
We're all here thanks to Tab, and the NRL season is here for the best time in sport. Tab has the best app in sport. Tab, we're on.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
And mate, we can't have viewer questions this week, unfortunately, because we're here, but I'll just make one up.
Okay.
Phil from Belmore,
Yeah.
tell us through your try, talk us through your try here in 2004 where you're about 1.5 metres behind Lockie.
Yeah. So Phil, what happened there was you time it perfectly. It might look an illusion on the television, but you slow it down and you know that I get it right. It's my job. Yeah, thanks for the question, Phil.
When you light the crowd up like that's got to be something else.
To be honest, when you do that, it's not until after you turn around to your teammates that you actually feel the crowd, like you're in the moment and you're actually playing. It's as a fullback, you actually sit back defensively and you can't hear a whole heap, and you've got to use a lot of your hand gestures and a lot of that communication, nearly like sign language. So.
Yep.
But yeah, the crowd is just incredible when moments like that happen, and you're out in the middle and the whole roar is just directed down. It's just like an amphitheatre, and it's so hard to create, so hard to explain, but it comes from passion. There's so much passion in this game from both states, and that's why it is what it is.
Mate, one final one. Next Wednesday, it's about 8:10. Players run out. They're out of your hands a few minutes before that as you head up to the coach's box. How do you feel? How do you feel then when you know, okay, your job's done and you've sent those 17 players out to do battle for Queensland?
Well, you think, okay, well, we've given the players responsibility through the week. Now they've got the reins to their game. Responsibility's not totally done. You still play a small part in the game in terms of interchanges, so that's actually where my mind goes to. Okay, let's go and get our game on and look for the things that we've been focusing on doing early in the match, and then you start planning for, okay, what's our interchange plans, and keeping an eye on those players in and around that when we need to make them, because it's not at a certain point. There's a bracket that they could be changed into, so you're still in the process mode. You're still looking at things that you need to be helping the team with, any little messages, but at the end of the day, this is their game. They need to feel confident of going out and getting it on. All
right, well, we look forward to Origin 1, Billy. Enjoy the week, and most importantly, good luck next week.
Thanks, Aldi. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Billy. That's Billy Slater. This has been the Billy Slater Podcast for another week.